Frankfurt, 1744. A Jewish ghetto behind locked gates. 10 families per house, no land ownership, no guild membership, no escape after dark. One boy watches his father count coins in a single room where 12 people sleep. That boy is Mayor Amschel Rothschild. 60 years later, his 5 sons will hold the debts of kings. They will fund Napoleon's enemies, resurrect British credit, and turn European war into the largest fortune ever built without conquest. They won't do it overnight. They'll do it with something more dangerous: patience. This is the story of how wealth compounds when you think in generations, not gambles. Early 1800s, Europe is a bonfire. Napoleon marches from Madrid to Moscow. Empires bleed gold into army boots and gunpowder. Every throne needs money yesterday. The banking world looks like this: Italian houses in decline, German courts desperate, British coffers strained by endless war, and everywhere chaos. Messages take weeks, trust takes longer, capital freezes when cannons fire. Myth: great fortunes come from singular brilliance or lucky strikes. Reality: they come from being the only bridge when everyone else is burning. Here's what the Rothschild family sees that others miss. Nations don't need loans once, they need them forever. Frankfurt, 1798. Mayor Amschel, now a coin dealer with royal clients, makes his move. He doesn't chase one big score, he builds infrastructure. He sends his 5 sons to 5 cities: Nathan to London, James to Paris, Salomon to Vienna, Karl to Naples. Amschel stays in Frankfurt. The mechanism is elegant. Each brother establishes a banking house. Each speaks multiple languages. Each marries within a tight circle, cousins to cousins, keeping capital locked inside the family like a sealed vault. Why do princes say yes to Rothschild loans? Because Mayer offers something revolutionary: information speed. His couriers ride faster routes. His brothers share intelligence across borders. In 1811, when Nathan needs to know French troop movements, he knows before the British Foreign Office. The first shackle isn't debt, it's dependency on information they alone possess. London, 1814. Napoleon abdicates. Here's the crisis. British government debt has doubled. Credit is frozen. Bonds are worthless paper. Nathan Rothschild sees the opportunity others call catastrophe. He doesn't buy British bonds when they're strong. He buys them when everyone else is panic selling at 40% off. Then he waits. Not days, not months, 2 years. When peace stabilizes Europe in 1816, those bonds recover fully. Nathan's profit? Enough to buy £80 million worth of assets in today's money. One patient bet. But here's the trap. Governments now know Nathan has the capital to stabilize their debt. Austria needs money to suppress Italian revolts. Prussia needs loans to rebuild. They all come to the Rothschilds. Each loan creates dependency. Each bond issue requires the next. The brothers charge commissions on every transaction, not by force, by indispensability. The moral hazard spreads like ink in water. Monarchs borrow because Rothschilds lend. Rothschilds lend because monarchs borrow. The loop accelerates. Myth: wealthy families guard their money. Reality: they lend it out and collect the interest forever. The Waterloo moment. June 18, 1815. Waterloo, the battle that will determine Europe's fate for a century. Nathan Rothschild stands on the London Stock Exchange floor. His agents are positioned across the channel. The British public doesn't know if Wellington has won or Napoleon has crushed them. Then the music stopped. A Rothschild courier arrives. Nathan reads the message: Wellington has won. What happens next isn't a battle, it's a masterclass in information warfare. Nathan begins selling British bonds, publicly, heavily. Other traders assume he's received news of British defeat. Panic spreads. The market collapses. Bonds plummet. Then Nathan's agents quietly buy everything at rock-bottom prices. When official news arrives hours later confirming British victory, the market explodes upward. Nathan's profit from this single day? Enough to buy £135 million worth of assets in modern terms. But this moment matters for a different reason. It's not the money, it's the principle. Information asymmetry at scale is more valuable than gold mines. Vienna, 1820s. The Holy Alliance needs to suppress revolutions across Italy and Spain. Austrian Emperor Francis I needs financing. The Rothschilds provide it. But they don't just hand over cash. They create something more permanent. Here's what they build: a private network that coordinates loans across 5 countries simultaneously. They standardize bond terms. They synchronize payment schedules. They effectively become Europe's central clearinghouse before central banks exist. The revenue isn't seized by armies. It's earned through fees, small percentages that add up to fortunes. Think of it this way. Every time a government borrows, the Rothschilds take a cut up front. Every year that loan exists, they take another cut. And when it's time to refinance, another cut. By 1825, the Rothschild network controls nearly half of Europe's sovereign debt market. The rules they impose are invisible but absolute. Don't default or you'll never borrow again. Don't challenge them or capital dries up. Don't try to bypass them. There is no alternative network at this scale. This is the takeover, not territorial conquest, but financial infrastructure capture. 1830. France erupts in revolution. King Charles X flees. The Bourbon monarchy collapses. A new king takes the throne, Louis Philippe. He's weaker, more liberal, deeply in debt. James de Rothschild, operating from Paris, makes his approach. The terms appear standard: reasonable interest, typical repayment timeline. But buried in the contract, exclusive rights to French government bond issuance for the next decade. James becomes France's de facto finance minister without title or election. When revolution threatens again in 1848, James simply moves capital to London and Vienna. French credit collapses. Louis Philippe abdicates within weeks. The pattern crystallizes. Nations need them more than they need nations. Myth: political power trumps financial power. Reality: politicians serve 4-year terms. Bankers serve 4 generations. Aftermath. By 1850, let's tally the damage. The Rothschild network holds debts from Britain, France, Austria, Prussia, and Naples. The total? Roughly £15 billion in modern purchasing power spread across 5 governments. Who paid? European taxpayers through decades of bond servicing, Italian peasants through Austrian occupation taxes, French workers through austerity budgets, British laborers through income tax introduced partly to service war debt. Who benefited? 5 brothers and their descendants who never fired a shot. What did sovereignty mean in practice? The right to tax your citizens to pay foreign creditors. The Rothschilds didn't steal Europe, they financed it, one patient loan at a time, until the interest payments became structural, woven into every national budget, every bond market, every future borrowing need. The mechanism explained. Let's break down how slow wealth actually works. 5 layers. Layer 1, information dominance. Their courier network was 1 to 2 days faster than competitors. In finance, hours matter more than armies. Layer 2, geographic distribution. 5 brothers in 5 capitals meant capital could flow where returns were highest. When France was risky, money moved to Vienna. When Vienna struggled, capital shifted to London. The family never concentrated risk. Layer 3, generational continuity. Here's the key move. Marriages between cousins kept capital from fragmenting. 16 out of 18 weddings in the second generation stayed within the family. The fortune compounded undivided for 80 years. Layer 4, sovereign dependency. Once a nation borrows from you repeatedly, they can't switch creditors without triggering market panic. You become infrastructure. Layer 5, refinancing loops. The real profit wasn't the first loan, it was loans 7, 12, 20. Each refinancing generated new fees, compound interest on compound interest. The human motive wasn't greed, it was survival calculus from a family that started in a ghetto. They built a fortress made of ledgers because ledgers couldn't be burned like homes. The compound effect. 1870. The Rothschild fortune is estimated at over £5 billion in today's money. But that's just liquid assets. The true wealth is in the network itself. They control the Bank of England's gold reserves. They finance 40% of France's railway expansion. They hold Austrian metallurgy monopolies. And in 1875, when Britain needs to buy control of the Suez Canal, it's the Rothschilds who provide the money overnight.
They didn't get rich quickly, they got rich inevitably. Each generation added one layer. Mayer built the network, the 5 sons built the sovereign relationships, the 3rd generation built the industrial monopolies, the 4th generation became aristocracy by purchase, titles, estates, parliaments. By 1900, Rothschild isn't a family name, it's a system. The hidden price. But here's what the dark history reveals. This wealth didn't compound in a vacuum. Every Rothschild bond issued to suppress the 1848 revolutions funded Austrian troops shooting Italian protesters in Milan. Every loan to maintain the concert of Europe maintained monarchies that crushed democratic movements for decades. The stability they financed was the stability of old regimes clinging to power. They weren't villains, they were bankers doing what bankers do, financing whoever pays interest, regardless of what that interest funds. The price was paid in delayed progress, in revolutions postponed, in reforms that took generations instead of years because the regimes had just enough credit to survive. This is the moral architecture of patient capital. It doesn't care about justice, it cares about repayment. Modern echo. Today's version looks different but runs on the same rails. Sovereign wealth funds from Norway, Saudi Arabia, Singapore playing the long game across decades. Private equity firms buying infrastructure and collecting revenue for 30-year holds. Tech platforms building dependency loops where switching costs become prohibitive. The Rothschild principle survives. Compound wealth beats explosive returns because it survives collapse. When markets crash, the patient capital with no forced sellers wins. When nations panic, the entity with the deepest information network wins. When competitors burn through cash chasing growth, the institution playing for Generation 4 wins. Getting rich slowly isn't virtuous, it's structural. You don't build a fortune in a quarter, a year, or a decade. You build infrastructure, physical, financial, informational, that generates returns long after you're dead. The Rothschilds didn't get lucky at Waterloo.
They were positioned to exploit Waterloo because they'd spent 15 years building courier networks, family discipline, and sovereign relationships while everyone else chased immediate profits. The trap of overnight wealth is that it's visible. Slow wealth is invisible until it's too late to compete with. Frankfurt, 2025. The old ghetto is gone. The Rothschild banking houses have merged into larger institutions or gone quiet. But the principle remains, carved into every bond market, every sovereign debt curve, every patient capital strategy. The fastest way to get rich is to build a machine that gets richer while you sleep. Not overnight.
not in one brilliant trade, in 200 years of compounding decisions where each generation adds one more layer to the infrastructure that survives them. That's what history teaches about getting rich slowly. You don't get rich at all. You build a system that gets rich, and then you become synonymous with the system itself. The Rothschilds didn't just accumulate wealth, they became the definition of it, so thoroughly that saying their name still means unimaginable money 2 centuries later. That's not luck, that's architecture, and architecture takes time.